Hello there, it's EDDBUD here, back with another episode of the fans' favourite running shoe, yay or nay. Welcome back to the channel, or if it's your first time here, where have you been? Help us out by hitting that subscribe button and clicking the bell below for notifications so you're notified when things occur and things happen, videos are released and all that sort of stuff. It also helps us out a huge amount in terms of the YouTube algorithm if you give this video a thumbs up like, but also share it with your running buddies. Cheers, me dears. Running Shoe Yay or Nay is a series where I look at some newly released shoes or maybe some forthcoming releases and let you know whether I'm going to pick them up for review or not. It could be that another running shoe tuber is going to do them more justice and thus I might leave them for them to review. Or it could be that I just think the shoe's absolute fire and I want to pick it up and test it out. So, without further ado, let's get to shoe number one. It's the Nike ULTRAFLY. So, just when we were waiting around for a Nike ZOOMX trail shoe to appear, two of them pop up. This one though has more in common with the Vaporfly Next Percent upper with the Vaporweave material. This appears to be a lower weight race offering rather than the Zigama, which seems to be a sort of more long distance, perhaps highly cushioned offering. We have a carbon plate here sandwiched between two pieces of ZOOMX midsole foam. Interesting that Nike is still persisting with that Vaporweave material that we saw on the first version of the Vaporfly Next Percent. Similar perhaps to the previous Zoomfly 3 upper, and we also have that reappearance of the midfoot cage to lock the foot in place that we saw in the Zoomfly 3 and 4. Early reports though suggest it's not just ZOOMX material here. Judging by the side walls of the midsole, it does appear there's some type of coating there to protect the outer wall. As we know with ZOOMX, it doesn't really like getting wet all that much. If any moisture does get inside of the midsole material, it does start to sort of break it down quite quickly. I guess the trail outsole here isn't all that dissimilar to the Pegasus Trail 3 or 4 models we've seen recently, and there are minimal upper overlays for a nice lighter option perhaps. I certainly think this one's aimed at racing more than anything. Everything's pared down on it, even the tongue, it all just looks very weight relieved. Could be great at some wetter conditions thanks to that non-absorbing Vaporweave upper. Certainly a more traditional profile to this shoe than the Zigama. Could be a really great Nike trail offering, this one. I say it's a yay if I can get hold of the ULTRAFLY sometime in the future. I think perhaps this one could be a fair way off yet, several months. I think there's only maybe one or two influencers that have been sent a pair. I hope that I influence you guys, but only in a good way. Maybe I'm a little bit too honest sometimes, who knows. Shoe 2 is the Endorphin Pro 3 from Saucony. Third iteration of Saucony's flagship shoe. This time with an even lower weight due to a highly tuned upper. It's an extra light mesh with loads and loads of holes in it. I mean, I think there's some cheese in the fridge that's got less holes in it than this. That vibe's carried through to the tongue as well. Just really weight relieved here. It certainly has echoes of the Saucony Endorphin Pro Plus that we saw last year. An almost salmon fish-like appearance. Though with all these holes we have a really low weight of only 204 grams in the sample size, which is absolutely fantastic. I think they've maxed out the actual midsole stack here in the heel, 39.5 millimeters. I think that makes for an 8mm drop overall. Pretty much all of those top-end race shoes now are just under 40 millimeters, unless you pick them up in my size or Tim Gross's size, and then they'll be, you know, like 80 millimeters or something like that. I'm kidding, of course. Just want to say a shout out to Tim, actually, if he's watching. I'm really glad, Tim, that they've released some of those Adidas products in sizes that you can actually use. I just couldn't understand for the life of me why they weren't producing them in those higher sizes. It's just crazy. I know loads of people that are size 13 or 14, and yeah, their shoe selection is severely limited, so I'm really pleased for you that Adidas have done that. And I should be looking out for your review on the Adidas Adizero Adios Pro 3 very soon. Go and check out Tim's channel in the link below. We got a brand new outsole design here in this third version of the shoe with 3 rubber elements forged together to create hopefully better outsole traction grip than we had in the last 2 models. Some multi-directional lugs there of the chevron variety. I think that was always the Achilles heel of the Pro version 1 and 2, and I have to say the profile of this Saucony Endorphin Pro 3 is certainly very Starship Enterprise once again. A space-age shoe for a new era where only the softest of midsoles is acceptable. There was an interesting comment on one of the Facebook forums the other day about how even the Takumi Sen is like way more cushioned than some of the race flats that you used to get like 6-7 years ago. Maybe we're all just becoming a little bit too soft. I'm keen to see if these changes elevate the Endorphin Pro back into that sort of top realm. Should provide a bit of competition anyway to Adidas and Nike and Asics. It's certainly a yay for me for the Saucony Endorphin Pro 3. Shoe 3, we're sticking with Saucony with the Endorphin Shift 3. There's so many like sequels at the moment, it's wild. Not a model that I've tried out before despite being the third iteration this time around. I think I was originally put off testing the Shift 1 and 2 really by the weight. It just seemed a very heavy shoe. Plus it was using the older Power Run midsole foam, which, you know, just seems a little outdated now. And of course there was the price as well, much higher than a standard daily offering. Just wasn't really something that was speaking out to me. Here in the Shift 3 from Saucony, we have reduced the weight and somehow added some extra midsole stack to what was already a rather tall shoe. Yeah, my UK 11 or US 12, the original Shift was already sort of way above 40, I think. There's quite the cup here in the heel section of the shoe, and the overall stack here makes this Saucony's version of the Hoka Bondi. I'm still surprised to see that it's standard Power Run midsole foam here in the Shift 3. I think a few people are probably hoping it was going to shift up to some other sort of more compressive foam, no pun intended there. Maybe it's a new blend here that they've used to give us a little bit more cushion, make it a little bit more forgiving perhaps. Either way, I'm still not sure that I need a shoe of this caliber, certainly at that price. Big slab of material there, it's not something that I particularly need, I just impact off the surface of that stuff like a poorly aimed proton torpedo. This one is due for release in July of this year, but sadly it's a nay for me for this one. I think some other shoe tubers will do it more justice than I. Shoe 4, and the last one in today's episode, is the Asics GLIDERIDE 3. It's now released in the UK and as a major redesign, a follow-up to a quite overlooked series from Asics. Here we've got a dual layer midsole this time round. They've switched it up. It features a softer section of Flight Foam Blast Plus that we saw in the Nimbus 24, and then a firmer layer of Flight Foam underneath. Asics have been systematically switching out their midsoles to lighter, softer and more durable foams, and I think that that's really going to benefit the GLIDERIDE 3 in this instance. Asics outsoles have never been an issue, with absurd levels of longevity and very little wear over time, so nothing to worry about here. They're sticking with AHA Plus. I think it's AHA Plus. Either way, it's going to outlast all of us, that's for sure. With these updates, I feel that the shoe no doubt will get a performance boost, a lower weight and perhaps an expanded selection of use cases, so it's going to cover more runs within your rotation. I think it needs to do that as well with a cost of 155 Earth credits over here in the UK. You know, it is a little steeper. We're getting into Saucony Endorphin speed territory there. I think perhaps if there's a chance of some discount at some point, I will certainly pick up the GLIDERIDE 3 for review. So it's a yay for me for the GLIDERIDE 3, perhaps in the near future, once I've cleared out a few other shoes that I've got in the current testing. Like this one, for example, which I'm throwing loads of miles into. I'm loving it. Upper feels a little bit better and no blisters so far. Let me know your thoughts and comments on all 4 shoes in today's Yay or Nay down below. Musical interlude time. If you're able to catch some of the Glastonbury Festival footage, then I do urge you to go and check out Supergrass's set. They performed on Friday, I think it was around tea time. You know, that for us in the UK is sort of like 5 o'clock or something. They sounded fantastic, really clear and concise. Vocals are really strong, really clear, and some great guitar noise as well. Really good guitar tones here. It's a particularly good version of Sun Hits the Sky, and Richard III sounded powerful. They've been playing for so long, those guys. I think they just know how to please the festival crowd. I think I've seen them like 3 or 4 times at festivals over my lifetime. Do go and check them out, guys. They sounded fantastic. Supergrass at the Glastonbury Festival. Thanks for tuning in, people. It's always appreciated. Your support is really helping the channel grow and move forward. If you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button and click the bell below for notifications. Please also give this video a thumbs up like and share it with your running buddies. My name's EDDBUD, and I'll be seeing you